by hearts of good souls in the dark, filled with dismay, laid along and faked too much, all the way through till the crumble. Into shattered down they go. Don't let them do it like that. You must know that all things that made you weak. So wake up from long sleep. Don't refuse to be free. Let go. Doubt this reason to break out this in your mind. Take my hand.
This song is peak! Yeah. Yeah, yeah, ha, 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 ha. Yes, ooh, ah, yeah, hey, 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 hey.
They made us believe so things were playing their favor. Lost and broken, afraid of changing the way of life. In this blurred view.
Bro, I can't believe I'm streaming this finally, bro. Shout out to my boy Toby Fox.
Don't let 'em do it like that. You must know that all this that made.
Alright, that's it. What is up, guys? Oh my god, I cannot believe I'm doing this game. I'm doing this game. I'm doing this game. Oh! Bro, I can't believe I'm doing this game, bro. Can't believe I'm doing this game, bro. Alright, chill out, bro. It's not that deep. Alright, so today, we're gonna be playing a game that I have been wanting to play on this channel and on this Twitch stuff for so long, so darn long, and I cannot believe that I'm playing this darn game, bro. I cannot believe I'm playing this game, bro. I'm so excited to play this, bro. Look at this! Ah! Okay. So, today, we are playing Undertale. Because it is the 10th anniversary this year of Undertale. This is the 10th anniversary of Undertale. Wait, it should be. Yes, I know. Today is the 10th anniversary. Today is the 10th anniversary of Undertale, and I've already beaten this game like 2 times. However, I want to experience this game with you guys because it was so fun playing the pacifist route, and I want to do the pacifist route with you guys now. So, without further ado, my name is IQ, and let's get this party started. Long ago, 2 races ruled over Earth, humans and monsters. One day, war broke out between the 2 races. Sounds familiar. Okay, after a long battle, the humans were victorious. Alright, humans, alright. They sealed the monsters underground with a magic spell. I can't lie. Many years later, Mount Ebott, 20X. I think 2015. Yeah, 2015. Legends say that those who climb this mountain never return. Yes, they don't. They don't. They don't. She fell, bro. She fell, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to play this game, bro. I can't wait to play this game, bro. And you know what, guys? You know what I'm gonna play it on? I'm gonna play it on my controller. You wanna know why? Because my controller is very special to me. Oh, wait, that's the wrong controller. Oh, you gotta give it. You gotta. I'm gonna redo it because Because there's a secret I can do. Let me pair my controller because I just got this one. Like, I have to replace my controller because it got like stick drift, so I have to replace it. Yes, I know it's restarting. I know. Bluetooth, add device. What are you connected to? Okay, you're not connected to that. But I need to check something. Are you connected to the PC? You are connected to that box. Okay, you guys are connected to the Xbox. I gotta get rid of you. Bum 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 trying to pair the controller, but I can't. I gotta like. Okay, hold on. Okay, then I gotta get rid of this controller. Okay, yeah. Okay. We should be able to. Okay, I think I have to reset the game because it's not letting me do the flipping thing that I want to do. Maybe I can't use an Xbox controller, or maybe it's still connected to the Xbox. It is not connected to the Xbox. Okay. Maybe I just cannot control Undertale with the controller. Maybe that's it. Maybe I just can't control Undertale with the controller. Alright. So here's something I found. Oh, you can't. Okay. Yeah. Begin game. And the name of the human is going to be Agu because we're gonna do 2 runs. We're gonna do the genocide run and we're gonna do the pacifist run. Yes. Hey. Okay, tell me I can use my controller. It's not letting me use my controller. Okay, hold on. It's not letting me use my controller. Come on. This one. Hey, I got it to work. Nice. I'm using a controller. Okay, I'll put my inputs on. I'll put my inputs on screen. Okay, hold on. Let me get the input. No, not that one, because I don't trust that. This one. Yeah, I'll make them smaller because I know that there's something there that has to be there. So I'll put the inputs like right there. Hey, we're playing Undertale. Let's go. Patty, I'm not reading this. I'm not you. Okay, if you guys have seen my flippin' Deltarune playthroughs on YouTube Live, I did not read any dialogue. But so for this one, I will read like important dialogue. But this is not important. Ayo, what? You want some love, do you? Ayo, what? Ayo! Ayo, what? Okay. Yeah, I'm moving for you. I'm moving for you. I'll share some with... What are you saying? Okay, okay. Down here, love is shared through little white friendly lists. You trying to give me drugs? What? Okay. Alright, let's go. Are you ready? Move around. Get as many as you can. I'm not touching no drugs, bro. What? Hey, buddy, you missed them. Let's try again, okay? No! No! Stop giving me your pellets, bro! Oh. You know what's going on here, don't you? No. I did not beat this game, bro. You just wanted to see me suffer. No. Leave me alone! Stop feeding me love, bro! Bro, this is a Diddy flower. I can't lie, bro. Ooh. Oh. Toriel! Ah, whatever. I love this game so much, bro. Oh. I'm Toriel, caretaker of the ruins. Okay. I know a lot of people call her Goat Mom. So I'll do that. I'll do that. I'll do that. You are the first human to come here in a long time. Come, I will guide you to the catacombs. Alright, I got you. Alright. Give me some. No. Alright, come on. Where are you gonna go? We're gonna go. Look at my stick. Look at my stick move. Look at my stick move. Alright, let's go. Come on. Let me save first. The Shadow of the Ruins. I didn't get to read it. I didn't get to read it either. God dang it! The Shadow of the Ruins looms above, filling you with determination. HP fully restored. Yeah, I'll save. So the B button is now my A button, the A button is now my B button. Okay, so I gotta remember that. Welcome to the... Can I not read?! Allow me to educate you in the operation of the... Yeah, operation of the ruins. Yeah, puzzles. Yeah. Yada, yada. The ruins are full of puzzles. Ancient fusions. One must solve them to move from room to room. Please adjust yourself to the sight of them. Okay, go, Mom. I see you. Make Okay, the stupid controller. Do not worry. Do not worry. I have labeled the ones that you need to flip. Okay, come on, let's go. Gang. And I be yelling at... Okay, so the B button is my A button. Yo! Splendid, I'm proud of you. Let's move to the next room. As the people living in underground, monsters may attack you. You will need to prepare. However, worry not. The process is simple. When you encounter a monster, you will enter a fight. Yes, I know this. While you're in the fight, strike up a friendly conversation. I like doing that. Stall for time. I will come to resolve the conflict. Practice talk. I remember. Practice talking to the dummy. Okay, I will. Oh. Nuzzle nose? Okay. You encountered the Oh! I know what I'm doing now. It would be nice. You talk to the dummy. It doesn't seem much for conversation. Toriel seems happy with you. You won. Yay! Ah, very good. You are very good. Yeah! Hold on. Yeah! Frogget attack. Oh, oh! Okay, yeah. Oh. That stare is crazy! That stare is crazy! Let's go. Next. Let's go. Come on, Goat Bomb. We're leaving. Let's go. Can I? Oh, I have to talk to you. Supposedly. Here, take my hand from me. I like this game so far. I like this game so far. It's pretty, it's relaxing. I like it. It's pretty fun. Dang! Puzzles seem a little too dangerous for now. Yeah, you have done excellent this far, my child. However, I have a difficult request to ask you. I would like you to walk to the end of the room by yourself. Forgive me for this. Okay. Hey, muscle on the beat, bro. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna get copyrighted. She here! Yeah, she right there! Don't hide from me! I was mirrored behind this pillar the whole time. Yeah, we saw you! Thank you for trusting me. However, there was an important reason for this exercise to test your independence. I must attend to some business. And you must stay alone for a while. Please remain here. I have an idea. I will give you a cell phone. Oh yeah, we privileged! If you have a need for anything, just call. Be good, alright? Alright, so listen. Okay, so listen. What I am flipping. Okay. So this. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we are doing good right now. So we're doing the path. So it's gonna be alright. It's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be that bad. Alright, enough. Let's go. Ring. Hello, this is Toriel. You've not left the room, haven't you? Have you? No. I didn't leave. I'm just, strolling Stu from Super Mario World. Not Mario World. Shoot! I mean Mario Sunshine, my bad. But, yeah, I'm just strolling Stu from Super Mario Sunshine. That's it, bro. Like, you're good to go. You ain't gotta worry about me, Tori. I'm gang, we good. Okay. get like the chat together so I can. Yes, it's coming up. I'm so sorry I'm doing this. I'm just trying to like, get the football thing together. So, 7. Okay. It's not showing. Settings. I'm active, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, it shows. Yep, it shows through, no it doesn't. Dang it, it doesn't. We have not left the room, have we? There are a few puzzles and, yet we can do it. Yeah, we can do it. It would be dangerous to try and to solve it yourself. Be good. Alright. Collect. Excuse me, human. I have some advice for you about battling monsters. Act certainly and fight until you almost defeat them. They might not want to battle you anymore. If a monster does not want to fight, please. Use some mercy, human. We will be doing that. We will be doing that. Playfully crinkling through the leaves fill you with determination as before you sleep. Just take one. I'm gonna keep taking them. Let's go! Who are we fighting? Frog. Let's go! I know we're gonna get the we're gonna get the knife. We're gonna get the knife, but we're not going to use the knife. That's the thing. We're gonna get it, but we're not gonna use it. Hello, this is Toriel. For no reason in particular, which do you prefer? Cinnamon or butterscotch? I like beescotch. I like cinnamon, but I need to try some cinnamon butterscotch pie. Butterscotch and cinnamon pie. I do need to try that. Hello, this is Toriel. You do not dislike cinnamon, do you? I know what your preference is, but would you turn up your nose if you found it on your plate? Right. I understand. Thank you for being patient, by the way. What do you mean patient? I wasn't. Whimsum? I'm gonna spare. Like, immediately spare. Hello. You do not have any allergies, do you? Huh? Why am I asking? No reason at all. Click. Okay, let's go. I think I remember this. Look down. Oh shoot! Go down. Okay. Hit me with it. Spare. Okay, hold on. Let me go. You go this way. You go this way. First try, let me cook, cuz. Oh, what is it? Oh, it's the easiest thing. I don't know why I'm able to spare them so easily. Whoa there, partner. Who said you push me around? So you're asking me to move over? Okay, just for you. You want me to move some more? Alrighty, how's this? You're in the wrong direction. That was the wrong direction? Okay, I got that. Yay! What the? You want to stay there? You're giving me a real workout. Aren't things easier when you just air? Shit show. What is this? Woo! Woo! Oh my gosh. What was that? Nab! Click on yet. This ghost keeps saying out loud, pretending to sleep. Haha, he's pretending. That's funny, he's pretending. Lol. Move it with force. Yeah. Alright. I like naps to eat. I like naps to eat. Oh, give me a second. Oh, gee. I usually come to the ruins because no one's around, but today I met somebody nice. Oh, I'm rambling again. I'll get out of your way. That's for the pastry, the spider pastries. I heard using F4 can make it have a full screen. But what does F4 stand for? 4 frogs? I only see a maximum of 3 frogs in this room. This is troubling to say the least. Ribbit. Ribbit. I heard you are quite merciful for a human. Surely you know by now a monster wears a yellow name and you can spare it. What do you think of that? It's very helpful. It is rather helpful. Remember, sparing is just saying you won't fight. Maybe one day you'll have to believe their name is yellow. Looks. Ooh. I'm not gonna pick on you, man. You rude little. Whoa! I didn't. Yay! Lost some health in the process, but it's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Hello? I just realized it's been a while since I've cleaned up. I was not expecting to have company so soon. There are probably a lot of things lying around here and there. You can pick them up, but you might carry more than you need. Someday you might see something you really like, or want to leave your room with your pockets full. So we gotta go on the bottom first to see that. I fell down a hole and I can't get out. The one without me. Wait, ghosts can fly. Oh. Now we go down this hole. Hit that switch. Yeah. Oh, I picked pick on. Alright, let's go. So it's red switch. It's red switch. I think it's red switch. Fetch toys. Dinner! I'm so hungry. Yay, let's go. Switch. Yes. Not that one. You hear a clicking sound. I like that guy. He's cool. I think now we go over here to get the knife. Ribbit. Just between you and me, I saw Tori come out here just a little while ago. She was carrying some groceries. I didn't ask what they were for. I also took to talk to her. We found the toy knife. So we got the toy knife. Wow. Okay then. I have +3 attack damage. Oh dear, it took longer than I expected it to. Oh? How'd you get here? There, I'll heal you. Yay. Seeing a cute house in the ruins. Such a cute, tidy house in the ruins give you determination. I like this song. I like this song, bro. I just like it so much. It's a calm song. I like it. It's pretty chill. Pretty chill. Pretty chill. That is the most important item in the entire game. That's the most important item. The butterscotch pot. The most important item in the game. We have to save that. We cannot heal with that. That's why I got the monster candy. This is it. A room of your own. I hope you like it. I like this. It's something burning. Make yourself at home now. So we're only gonna be doing up to Waterfall because I don't really feel like playing a lot of Undertale right now. But butterscotch pie, butterscotch cinnamon pie, butterscotch pie. All right, let's go. Oh, there's Toriel. Duck. But I have always wanted to be a teacher. Actually, perhaps that isn't very surprising. Still, I'm glad to have you living here. What is it? What? This is your home now. What would you like to hear about this book I'm reading? It's called 72 Uses for Snails. How about it? How to exit the ruins. Did you know that snails sometimes flip their digestive systems as they're mature? Ugh. How to exit the ruins. I have to do something, so stay here. No. I don't want to fight her though. You wish to know how to return home, do you not? Yeah, like that's all I'm trying to do is to go home. Ahead of us lies the end of the ruins, a one-way exit to the rest of the underground. I'm going to destroy it. No one will be able to leave ever again. Be a good child and go upstairs. Okay, psych! Every human that falls down here meets the same fate. I've seen it again and again. They come, they leave, they die. You naive child, if you leave the ruins, they, Asgore, will kill you. I am only protecting you. Do you understand? Go to your room. Okay, psych! Do not try to stop me. This is your final warning. Alright, I'll go. Psych! I ain't going nowhere. You want to leave so badly? Huh. You are just like the others. There's only one solution to this. Prove yourself. Prove to me you are strong enough to survive. I mean, you definitely want me to. I'm not gonna do that. Snap out of it, Tori. Attack and run away. What are you doing? Fight me or leave. Stop it. Stop looking. Victoria. Go away. Hey, what? Victoria is active. Victoria. I know you want to go home, but please go upstairs now. I promise I will take good care of you here. I know we do not have much, but we can have a good life here. Why are you making this so difficult? Please, go upstairs. Haha. Pathetic, is it not? I cannot save even a single child. No, I understand. You would just be unhappy trapped down here. The ruins are very small once you get used to them. It would not be right for you to grow up in a place like this. My expectations, my loneliness, my fear. For you, my child, I will put them aside. We didn't move once. If you truly wish to leave the ruins, I will not stop. However, when you leave, please do not come back. I hope you will understand. No. Goodbye, my child. No. Frisk was sad. I'm gonna clip that and see. I'm gonna see if I can clip that. I'm gonna see if I can clip that. Oh, I didn't get it. Oh man. Well, Frisk is sad when he leaves when they leave Torio. So I'm a bit sad too. I'm gonna miss Torio, bruh. Tutorial. Clever. Very clever! You think you're really smart, don't you? In this world, it's kill or be killed. So you were able to play by your own rules. You spared the life of a single person. No, actually, I mean, I did spare the life of a couple other actually. So what I actually did, you ugly, stupid flower, is what I did is I went around the entire ruins, could have killed everyone, but you know what I did? Nah! You know what I did? I spared everyone! You wanna know why? Because I'm a good person! You wanna know why? Because I'm a good person! I'm like that! You are not, bro! End this, like now. I'm clipping that. I bet you feel really great. You didn't kill anybody this time. But what will you do if you meet a relentless killer? Like you? You'll die until you're tired of trying. What will you do then? Will you kill out of frustration? Or will you give up entirely on this world and let me inherit the power to control it? I'm the prince of this world future. Don't worry, my little monarch. My plan isn't regicide. This is so much more interesting. I need to hear this. A single person. Well, actually, I mean, I did spare life of a couple others. Actually. So what I actually did, you ugly, stupid flower, is what I did is I went around the entire ruin, could have killed everyone. But you know what I did? Nah! You know what I did? I spared everyone. Tell him! You're a good person. Tell him! I'm a good person. Tell him! Like that. You are not, bro. Tell him! Like now. You spared the life of a single person. Well, actually, I mean, I did spare life of a couple others. Actually. So what I actually did, you ugly, stupid. Tell him! Oh my gosh! Well, actually, oh my gosh, bro, I love this. Okay. I'm so sorry. I was just. You know what? Hold on. I just want to give my respects to Toriel, bro. Like, she literally, like, she did not have to do what she had to do, bro. But still, she, like, bro. Shout out to everybody moms, bro. If you didn't have a mom, you wouldn't be here, bro. You got to remember that. If you did not have a mom, you would not be here. So shout out to all your moms. Please, like, you would not be here if you didn't have a mom, bro. Let's freaking go! Alright, let's go. I'm gonna miss Tori, bro. I'm gonna miss Tori. I'm gonna miss Tori, bro. I'm scared. Ah! Who was that? Okay, let's keep going. Human, don't you know how to greet a pal, a new pal? Turn around and shake my hand. Okay, I will. It stands! It's always funny. Anyways, you're a human, right? That's hilarious. I'm Sans. Yeah, we know who you are. You're I'm actually supposed to be on watch for humans right now. But you know, I don't really care about capturing anybody. Now my brother, he's a human hunting fanatic. Hey, actually, I think that's over him right now. Yeah, go right through. My bro made the bars too wide to stop anymore. Quick, behind that conveniently shaped lamp. I'm I'm gonna clip this. I'm gonna clip this part. Sup, bro? You know what? Stop, brother! It's been 8 days and you still haven't recalculated your puzzles. You just hang around outside your station. What are you even doing? Staring at this map? It's really cool. Do you want to look? No! I don't have time for that! When the human comes through here, I want to be ready! I will be the one! I must be the one! I will capture a human! Then I, the great Papyrus, will get all the things I really deserve. Respect, recognition. I will finally be able to join the Royal Guard! People will always ask to be my friend! I will bathe in a shower of kisses every morning. Maybe this lamp will help you. Sans! You are not helping, you lazy bones! All you do is sit and boondoggle! You get lazier and lazier every day! Hey, take it easy. I've gotten a ton of work done. A skeleton. Sans! Oh, come on! You're smiling. I am, and I hate it! Why does someone as great as me have to do so much just to get some recognition? Wow, sounds like you're really working yourself down to the bone. Ah! I will attend to my puzzles. As for your work, put a little more backbone into it. Yeah! That was on point. Yeah. That was on point. Okay, you can come out. You can come into the out now. That was on point, honestly. That was on point. That was on point, you know? That was on point. Alright, yeah, let's go. Hi, Sans. Actually, hey, hate to bother you, but can you do me a favor? I was thinking, my brother's been kind of down lately. He's never seen a human before, and seeing you might just make his day. So, what are you suggesting? Don't worry, he's not dangerous, even if he tries to be. Thanks a million. I'll be up ahead. Yay, we're at Snowden! Alright. I did say that I wasn't going to, like, do, I was gonna do until Waterfall, but I think I'm gonna end it here, because I'm gonna make it into, like, a series, too, where I stream it, and then, like, I do this as well. So, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate y'all. And, I will see y'all in the next Undertale stream, where we will okay, so the next Undertale stream, we're gonna be doing, oh, my eyes out. I wrote the eyes out. What did I say? The convenience of that lamp still fills you with determination. Alright. Alright, so tomorrow, what we're gonna do is, not tomorrow, because I have school, but next Friday, we're gonna continue, next Friday is going to be Delulu. Next Saturday is going to be, the next Friday I'll be at school. So Saturday we're not going to be doing Delulu. Saturday we're going to be doing, Undertale, from Snowden to Waterfall. And then Sunday I will try to do from Waterfall to Hotline. And we will try to be doing some Delulu and, like, in between. But other than that, that's it for Undertale. I will be back with some,